Fans of the once video game have now quadrupled in size because of its latest adaptation on HBO. Roughly about 10 years ago, what was once a small fan base of the video game can now join in the conversation with a bigger audience, discussing the show and enjoying all of its glory. And finally, the last point I'll make, the infamous trend of making bad video game adaptations into live action shows is finally over, all thanks to The Last of Us. Before we continue with The Last of Us, let's briefly discuss some amazing adaptations where the trend slowly started changing. Over the last couple of years, we have seen a handful of adaptations slowly make their way into the mainstream space. For example, Arcane being the biggest one, a show that not only League of Legends players can enjoy, but can also serve as a standalone show for anyone that doesn't play the game that can also enjoy. And then last year, we got the masterpiece Cyberpunk Edgerunners. CD Projekt Red, as a company, plummeted catastrophically with its bad press tainting their image due to its awful amount of bugs found within Cyberpunk upon the game's release. As soon as the Netflix series got announced, the company CD Projekt Red had to get this right. Failure was not an option for the already controversial company. Let me just tell you how happy we are to be proven wrong. All of our expectations were thrown out the window and the show became a massive hit, leaving many fans hopeful for the game. And now, in 2023, comes The Last of Us. Again, a great adaptation from an already beloved video game and stays true to its source material. Before the show's release, many fans of the game were skeptical about the show due to a handful of news outlets reporting that its main actors didn't play the main game. But with Neil Druckmann, director of the game, teaming up with Craig Mazin, screenwriter for Chernobyl, this is already leading up to be a project that many will look out for. As of recording, I'm about 7 episodes in, and I absolutely love the show. With the additional content that they sprinkled in throughout the episodes, anyone that is a fan of the game will come to appreciate the show even more. And then we are blessed with episode 3. It is where the show starts to truly stand out from its source material. To anyone who has played part 1, Bill and Frank are briefly mentioned in the game. However, with the HBO adaptation, HBO took this idea and made it their own short film episode. And I absolutely cannot say this enough. I love how the HBO series not only brought fans, but anyone new coming into the show, just what's next to come. And now that I think about it, if this show encourages others to take a risk and adapt their own video game too, I'm all for it, and I'll continue to support them as well. Having so many eyes on The Last of Us, it leaves Naughty Dog with no choice but to finish the trilogy, with Part 1 releasing in 2013 and Part 2 releasing in 2020. It's safe to assume that Part 3 will take some time before it gets adapted into a show. I'll go a little off script here and briefly discuss this, as I think it's important to talk about. Just look at any anime, TV show, or movie for example. There's bound to be an episode or two with just filler. For example, let's take another popular HBO show, Game of Thrones. There's been countless posts on Reddit asking the community which episodes are filler and which seasons are entire fillers as well. Also, as of right now, it's too early to say whether or not the HBO's Last of Us will be taking this route as well. And if Naughty Dog does confirm Part 3, it probably won't come out till 2025, maybe 2026. After maybe Season 3 of The Last of Us has come out, that's probably going to give them a lot of time for them to make the adaptation as well. Another question that came to mind is how will Part 3 turn out? Part 2 leaves the story extremely unfinished, not just Ellie's story, but in Abby's as well. I won't go too deep into Part 2 just because of spoilers, just in case. Let's just say the best way to put it is Part 2 leaves so many unanswered questions that Part 3 needs to answer. There's also giant themes that basically revolve around the first game and the second game that would like to be explored even either deeper or a different theme that can be explored on the third part as well. This is where I'll leave things for now since it's very up in the air right now. But what I can say is that so far the show, I absolutely love it. It's met every single expectation I've had about the show, and honestly, probably even more. And finally, most importantly, we finally have a TV show from a video game adaptation that sticks to its source material, and it's pretty fucking good. I just can't wait to see what else they're gonna stick into the show and what they're gonna leave out from this game. I absolutely cannot stress this enough. Thank you so much to everyone who sticked around, who liked, subscribed, commented, and anything else in between for all my videos. I can't wait to catch you guys all in the next video, and I hope you all have a good night. Thank you. Appreciate you. Goodbye.